Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. We're going to get to the video clip in just a few seconds. Just wanted to let you all know that this video clip was from February of this year when the primary was set in Michigan, and they had over 100,000 uncommitted voters that were out there. And this was at the time that Biden obviously was still on the ticket. So I just wanted to preface with that. This obviously, everything that you're going to hear in this video and my reaction to it is also apropos and literally is sticking to Kamala Harris. All right. You're watching the Dr. Nasser Sheikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasser. Let's get to this video clip right now.
To discuss this is Academy Award-winning filmmaker Michael Moore. He is also part of the group Listen to Michigan, which helped organize the Uncommitted Push. Michael, it's great to see you again. Thank you so much for making time for us. Earlier this week, you said what Biden is participating in is something that is killing civilians and children. More than 30,000 Palestinians have now been killed in this ongoing war. At this point, does the president stand a chance at winning back some of those or any of those uncommitted voters? Would calling for a ceasefire at this moment be enough?
No, but it would go a long way. I can't speak for everybody who voted, obviously. We organized this campaign, Listen to Michigan, Mr. President, please. We organized this in less than 3 weeks. So, I mean, this was the most amazing thing to have happened, to have over 100,000 Michiganders, Democrats. I would say the majority.
Just to give you some context, I've got a lot of contacts out in Dearborn, Michigan, friends of family friends, some acquaintances, and we're in touch with them almost on a daily, if not weekly basis. And when this was going on, folks, they were hoping to get maybe 10, 20, maybe upwards of 25,000 signatures or people that would vote uncommitted. And Listen to Michigan got over 100,000 folks, over 100,000. Anyways, let's continue.
Vast majority of whom voted for Biden in 2020, to come out and vote uncommitted, to send that message to the president that not only must there be a ceasefire now, but that we must stop, as Senator Sanders said earlier today, we must stop sending, we shouldn't send another nickel, is what he said, in bombs, guns, planes, bullets to Israel until they stop this madness. And I think that
I agree with that, folks. There should be no foreign aid going to any country, whether it's Israel, whether it's, any of our no foreign aid goes to any foreign country until we fix our problems at home, period. And I know that's never going to happen because there's just too much, there's legal, in terms of where you've got, people out there, corporations, companies that are just, continue bombarding our congressmen, people in the Senate. I mean, all the money that's coming in from all of these PACs, it's just, I don't think that's ever going to happen. So I would basically say that somehow if we could pass a law that would say for every dollar that you do send abroad, there has to be $10 that is earmarked for the United States of America to be utilized for infrastructure work. Start off at $10 and negotiate. Start off at $20 for every dollar you send abroad. That would make Congress think a little bit before they succumb to all the pressures that are out there to accept this money.
is how people felt going to the polls on Tuesday, that we needed to send a strong message. Now, for people listening to this to think, oh, why are we throwing the election to Trump? I don't know. One thing I feel safe saying is that those who voted uncommitted on Tuesday are not going to vote for Trump. My fear, and the reason why those of us started this campaign, is to basically save Biden from himself, because of what he's done to support.
from my contacts and from what I'm hearing, you have got at least 30 to 40% of those people that were uncommitted are definitely saying that they would vote for Trump. Folks, the battleground, I don't think it's in Pennsylvania. This battleground is going to be in Michigan. And I think Trump is going to carry Michigan by at least, I'd say, 2 to 4 points, if not higher. Because I'm telling you right now, Kamala Harris, she's going to get some of the votes. She might get 10 to 15%. But Trump is going to double her in those people that are. And the other thing is, if they're not going to vote, they're probably going to vote Jill Stein now that RFK is out. They'll go third party, they'll do something else, or they'll just stay at home, folks. That's what I'm hearing on the ground. You can take that to the bank.
This massacre, to fund it, to be the bank for Israel in the slaughter of these people, that he is essentially guaranteeing that thousands and thousands of Americans are going to stay home and not vote on election day because they're not going to vote for Trump. But this is how Trump could win, because that 150,000 he won by in 2020, Hillary lost Michigan by just 11,000 votes.
Yeah.
That's 2 votes on average, 2 votes per precinct in Michigan. That's it. That's how close this could be. And to have 100,000 plus come out on Tuesday and say, you know what, our conscience will not allow us to support this.
Right.
And if people say, well, so does your conscience allow you to let Trump win? No. What it means actually to me personally is that now I've got to double and quadruple my efforts to make sure Trump loses, because Biden is working against me. Biden is working against the.
This is just, look, Michael, that's fine if you think that way. But here's the thing. The whole idea is that Trump needs 1 out of 3 in terms of the Rust Belt, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, right? He just needs 1 out of 3. So if it's not Pennsylvania and it happens to be Michigan, we'll take that as well, folks. But I think Trump's going to take Pennsylvania and Wisconsin as well. Check out our other videos for that. If you haven't done so already, like, subscribe, you all know what to do. Let's get back to Michael and his prognostications.
The Democrats in Michigan, first of all, 75% of the people in Michigan, according to the last poll I saw, want the ceasefire and want this massacre to stop. That's Republicans and Democrats. So the fact that Joe Biden isn't listening to the people is a sad thing. It's going to hurt him if he doesn't change now. And going on
or
TV
Kamala as well now.
A couple days before the primary with Seth Meyers, poor Seth, stuck with the ice cream cone there with Biden. And, when Biden promised that there would be a ceasefire by this Monday.
Right.
From your reporting here on MSNBC, that doesn't sound like that's going to happen. And so, what do we who don't want Trump back in there do at this point? Because, again, I can't speak on behalf of the Arab and Muslim Americans in Michigan who voted, but I've heard from enough of them, and I've heard from enough young people of all ethnicities and races and genders. Young people hate war, mainly because they're the ones sent to war to die in those wars.
Can I ask you about that real quick?
That's not true, Michael. They're not sent to war. These people go into the army themselves. They know what they sign up for when they sign into the military service, that they may have to go there. Now, in terms of most of the time what's happening, we are deploying, special services. You've got SEAL teams, you've got Rangers, you've got, special Delta forces that are, going in. But nobody's sending in. Now, when those men and women, they go into those battle areas, into those battle zones in the Mideast or Afghanistan or, wherever else that they're being deployed to. Yes, they are, we are sending in our treasure And in instances, okay, yes, they do die, but they signed up for that. This isn't where they were, forced into, going into the armed services. There's no lottery, no conscription, nothing like that. Anyways, let's continue.
So
Yeah.
can I ask
Yeah.
you, you bring up a really important point that I want to ask you about, because how broad is this coalition? There is this perception, certainly some in the mainstream media are trying to portray this as an Arab American thing or a Muslim American thing,
No.
saying, hey, the guy on the
No.
other side wants to deport you. You're a part of this. You tell us, how broad is this coalition that is behind this uncommitted vote? Who is it?
Listen, I'm going to tell tales out of school here. Those of us who were involved in or helped promote this on Tuesday, the Listen to Michigan campaign, we were hoping to get maybe 10 to 15,000 votes. That was it. A few people, the optimists, thought maybe 30,000. The fact that it was over 100,000 means it was a broad, it wasn't just the 9,000 people in Dearborn or the other Arab cities in Michigan, where we have an Arab American mayor and an Arab American city council, Hamtramck, Michigan. No, this was, of course, yes, it was Muslims and it was Arab Americans, but it was also vast numbers of young people who just said, "That's it. I'm out. I'm not going to vote for Trump, but I'm out of this. If this guy is going to continue the war, if he's going to continue to embrace Netanyahu, I will not participate in this." And so you had young people, you had progressives, you had all kinds of Democrats. As I said, the vast majority of Democrats in all the polls are against Biden funding and arming this war. So why wouldn't Biden listen to this? He wouldn't even acknowledge it when he won the primary, and then in thanking the people of Michigan, just ignored the 100,000 people. If, as Michelle Goldberg said in the New York Times last Friday, if he loses Michigan, he loses the election. Why would you risk that?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying, folks. It's not only just Michigan. We know about Wisconsin. We know about Pennsylvania. But I am telling you, you can write this thing down. You can play this video later on. They're not talking about this in the mainstream. They don't want to talk about it, but Kamala Harris has a huge problem. I am dialed in to what is happening, not only in Dearborn, but also in Chicago, Illinois, which has the largest population of Palestinian Americans or Palestinians. And it's the same thing over there. Now, I don't think there's enough vote total in the state of Illinois to shift it if every single, Arab American, Palestinian American, Muslim American, voted, and just voted completely, against Kamala Harris. Now, is the numbers going to be down? Obviously, but, Harris is still poised to win the state of Illinois. But in Michigan, folks, I'm telling you, and then that's just the Arab Muslim population. When he talks about the young people, what about the young black men? Their direction, if they're for the pro-Palestinian side? That's one thing, but then they also have the fact of being black. So where do you think they're going, these young black males? They're also gravitating towards Trump, especially now if they didn't think that if there's no, nothing in terms of RFK. Anyways, let's continue on.
President Biden. Why? Why are you? This is when you need to be a politician. It's what you should do is the moral thing, which is stop the carpet bombing, stop the slaughter, make sure aid comes in. Don't be dropping aid with parachutes like it was some kind of Looney Tunes cartoon. You've got 2 million people starving to death, and you're dropping a few hundred parachutes. Is that a joke? Is that like the ice cream announcing we're going to have a ceasefire by Monday? This is not funny. This is not a joke. And the young people of Michigan The people of color in Michigan, I mean, Michigan, we have, what, 13, 14 black cities, majority black cities: Detroit, Flint, Saginaw, Benton Harbor, Pontiac. These are African-American cities. They don't support this. But they supported Biden. I support Biden. We voted for Biden. We want to vote for him again.
And you got what you voted for. You got what you voted for, Michael.
A lot of people, and this is what I was saying about our friends in the Detroit area who are Palestinian, who have family members who have died in these last almost 5 months. Family members that have been killed by in Dearborn, in Detroit, their tax dollars. They helped to fund the slaughter of their grandparents, their cousins, their nieces, their nephews. And I'm just asking anybody who's watching this right now, who's not Arab, not Muslim, if you discovered that the United States, your country, funded and carried out through the production of these arms that are given to Israel, carried out the slaughter of your grandparents, tell me what you would do. Tell me, how would you vote? Or would you maybe not vote at all and just sit it out because you're so upset, so disgusted with the murder of innocent civilians, 2/3 of whom are children and women and elderly? These are real people, Detroiters, who have lost, hundreds of people who have lost or have wounded family members, or who are starving to death right now in Gaza.
You can't help but feel for the collateral damage that is occurring, obviously. And we can always, as we talk about the proportionality of the strikes that Israel is doing and the number of innocent lives, that are being lost in this war. But it is a war that was started by Hamas. Things were going along. Yes, they had some skirmishes. Yes, you heard of Israeli, some things happening from the Israeli side, from the police, from some IDF forces on Palestine. But then you also heard there were Palestinian skirmishes. There was always the rockets going, coming across the border, and then the Iron Dome shielding, Israel from further damage. But you saw these provocations that would always occur. And then, Michael, I know we go back there, but you know what? Israel has a right to defend itself. You want to talk about proportionality? That's another topic for another debate.
Just asking you, fellow white people, what would you do? What would you do? And why is there an open air prison called Gaza for 15 years? When people are in prison, it's because they've committed a crime. Can somebody right now tell me what the crime is?
Here comes the attack against white people, folks. Here comes the attack against white people.
What is the crime? Because according to my knowledge of history, the enemies of Israel who have been persecuted, the Israelis, the Jewish people of this world have been persecuted for 5,000 years. But for the last 2,000 years, most of the persecution has come from white, European-centric Christians. That's been your enemy. No Palestinian helped to build Auschwitz. No Palestinian stood on the docks of New York City when boatloads of Jewish refugees trying to escape the Holocaust came here to be protected by this country and were turned away at the docks in New York and sent back to Germany to die. No Palestinian did that. No Palestinian ran the Spanish Inquisition. Your enemy is not the Palestinian people. It is white, Christian, European people who have been slaughtering Jews for the last 2,000 years.
The enemy also happens to be, let's just say, Caucasian, brown-looking folk, okay, that are Hamas terrorists. That's also who the enemy is, okay? Don't forget that, Michael.
Years. And let's just call it for what it is. But why are they in an open-air prison? Why are 2 million of them in an open-air prison? And I'm sorry to go on so long,
No,
Eamon,
no,
but I'm just so upset.
you bring up so many important points, and I know we can talk about this for hours, but I did just want to kind of get your final thought about this because it is kind of becoming such an important issue in the primaries. Do you think Joe Biden is gambling American democracy, given the fact that the alternative is a guy who says he's going to be a dictator, is a guy who says he's going to be an authoritarian on day?
There we go. The dictator thing. He makes a joke. He's going to be a dictator. He's going to be Adolf Hitler. Here we go again. He's going to be somebody, an authoritarian. Did he do anything that was authoritarian? Did he lock up journalists? Did he do anything to quench free speech? Did he have people working in collusion with the Trump administration at that time that were with social media? Did he go after? Did he allow social media in basically colluding with government to go out? They were doing it against him, but they weren't doing it against Democrats or liberals or leftists. No, authoritarian. He wants to be a dictator. No, that's your side. That's the left. That's the Democrats. That's Biden. That's Harris. That's who that is.
One, do you think Donald Trump is the threat that he is, and Joe Biden is gambling by aligning himself closely with Netanyahu at the risk of American democracy?
Absolutely. And gambling by aligning himself with an authoritarian in Tel Aviv, somebody who is facing a number of felonious charges, who was supposed to stand trial this past fall, and that all got shoved aside because now there's a war. And so we can't put our prime minister on trial. Joe Biden, and I plead with him, do not put Trump back in the White House. I am not going to be able to go on enough shows on TV between now and the election to convince literally millions of young people that you got to vote because Trump's a bad guy. Well,
Trump's a bad guy. You can't vote for him. Trump's a bad guy. There's not enough time. And we're talking now that this is the 26th, I believe, of August 2024. And we've got a new sheriff that, sheriffee, a sheriffess that wants to, be the new El Presidente of the United States of America, Kamala Harris. Is there going to be enough hours, Michael, for you to go on TV talk shows and tell the youngsters of America, the Gen Xers, the millennials, you know what? Trump Orange Man, bad. Dictator, bad. Authoritarian, bad. Wants to take away your rights, bad. I don't think so. Well, folks, as I've said before, Michigan is the state where the shock and the surprise is going to come because they're just saying, oh, you know what? There's a lot of black vote in the state of Michigan, and that's going to go Kamala Harris's way. Look, she's going to get the majority of the black vote, but it's going to be cut in so deep. I bet you Trump gets at least, I'm thinking, he's going to get in the mid to high 20s, the black vote in Detroit, in Wayne County, in the wild counties. He's going to get it. We know he's going to run up the numbers in the rural areas of Michigan. He's going to cut into that. And I'm telling you right now, folks, take this to the bank. Watch our other videos. We're going to be continually looking at what's happening to the Arab American vote, the Muslim American vote, and the Mideastern vote, the Mideastern, American vote that is in Dearborn, Michigan and surrounding areas, and what is going on with that vote and where they're gravitating to. Just want to let you know you've been watching the Dr. Nasser Shake Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasser. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow. Y'all know what to do. Take a look at our other video links above and below. My final thought is always, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.